Born Joseph Paul Zukakis in Binghamton back in 1902, Jack Sharkey rose from the son of Lithuanian immigrant parents to the heavyweight boxing championship of the world. His father worked in the area cigar industry while his mother took in laundry in their first ward home. After enlisting in the Navy in 1924, he took up boxing where he made a name for himself as a tough fighter, making the rounds on Navy ships. He began his pro boxing career in 1924 when he delivered a first-round knockout to opponent Billy Muldoon. He took the name Jack Sharkey based on his two boxing idols, Jack Dempsey and heavyweight contender Tom Sharkey, thus Jack Sharkey. Sharkey's first big bout was against Dempsey in July of 1927, with the winner getting a title fight against Gene Tunney. The fight was held before 72,000 spectators at Yankee Stadium. After quite a battle, in the seventh round, reportedly Sharkey turned to complain about a low blow. That's when Dempsey knocked him out. He rebounded from that loss, and on June 12, 1930, he fought Germany's Max Schmeling before over 79,000 at Yankee Stadium. In the fourth round, referee Jim Crowley awarded Schmeling the decision on a Sharkey low blow. But Jack got another chance at the title with a 1932 rematch with Schmeling when he won a split decision at the Madison Square Garden Bowl to win the World Heavyweight Championship. He was named Ring Magazine's 1932 Fighter of the Year. He held the title for a year before Primo Carnera upset him to earn the championship. During his career, he battled Joe Louis and lost on a third-round knockout. Sharkey was the only fighter to fight both Jack Dempsey and Joe Louis. Jack Sharkey was inducted into the International Boxing Hall of Fame in 1994, then passed away later that year at the age of 91. Here to accept tonight's induction, Jack Sharkey's grandson, Jack Sharkey III.
Well, a special thanks to the selection committee for selecting my grandfather. It's an honor to be here to accept the award for him. His lifespan, as you heard just a few minutes ago, 90 years, and he was the oldest living heavyweight boxing champion of the world, and up until, ironically, Max Schmeling ended up being the oldest after my grandfather died. So that was quite a thing that he did. He lived that long after fighting the types of fighters that he fought. Of course, he was born, as you heard, here in Binghamton to a Lithuanian immigrant family. And now, you did a pretty good job with that name, but I've known my grandfather. I grew up with him. I don't know if I ever got it right. Shakauskas. He was Lithuanian. And of course, he changed his name to Jack Sharkey. Jack Dempsey was his hero. Also, Tom Sharkey was he was a heavyweight that had this big tattoo of a ship on his chest, big cauliflower ear. If you look at any boxing magazines, you'll see him. And he changed his name to Jack Sharkey. Dempsey told him, "You're never going to be able to fight. They're not going to be able to pronounce your name." So he changed it and became Jack Sharkey, a Lithuanian fighting in Boston with an Irish name, even though he was Lithuanian. And so he was quite controversial during his time as a fighter. He fought some of the greatest fighters of the time. You heard the name Louis, you heard the name Schmeling. Tommy Loughran is another one, Primo Carnera, Max Schmeling, Mickey Walker, and the list goes on. The talent of boxing back in that era was incredible. The depth of the boxing. They fought in college. They fought in the services. They fought in the boys' club. They fought everywhere. The depth was pretty challenging, and yet he rose and was able to go up into the ranks fairly quickly and contend for the championship fights. And as he fought out of Boston and made his home there, he had many of those fighters in his home, which I can't grasp that when I was talking to him. And I'd say, well, why would you have Primo Carnera in your home? My dad remembers him. He's a giant of a man, 6'6", 266 pounds, the heaviest heavyweight ever up to that time, actually up until the 90s. And it was just it was a business. It was his livelihood. He said it was a heck of a way to make a living, but that's what he did, and he did it well. And he was able to retire fairly wealthy at that time, for boxers often did not invest their money well, and he invested well. He spent his post-fighting career as a ref. He was a world-class fly fisherman. His best friend, Ted Williams, and he would perform at the sportsman shows to sell camping gear and fly fishing gear, and he would also travel the world and visit the boys over there and during the war. He refereed professional fights. He even refereed some professional wrestling. And so wherever my grandfather was, wherever I went with him, very fond memories of him fishing. And everywhere we went, the crowd would stop. They say, "Isn't that Jack Sharkey?" They knew him. I mean, that was Boston. That was back in the 60s and the 70s, and he was recognized. And it was really, really fun to be around him. The pictures, the autographs. He was always ready to fight. I mean, he wouldn't back down even when he was 60 years old. I mean, not that he was picking a fight or looking for a fight, but it was in his blood. He just was ready to go. Yet as a grandfather, he was very kind, very generous, and didn't know when I sat there, and I would visit him oftentimes, so many times, be fishing with him, and to know the people that he was able to visit, and look at the great names that have been mentioned here in this history of the Yankees, and I'll have to mention another one. And my grandfather was friends with Babe Ruth, and that's to me just it sends chills down my spine to think of those type of people that he was able to know during those years. And so he would love to be here. I'm sure he would be here if he could be. Of course, he's long gone. But he had a saying that he used to say on occasion. He said, "It's nice to be remembered, and it's terrible to be forgotten." And tonight you remembered him, the Greater Area Boxing our Sports Hall of Fame, and I thank you for that, and he'd be glad to know that he was inducted. Thank you so much.